Alright, ladies, this is Alex from Mindful Attraction 2.0, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the number one sign of unhappiness. You see, for me, unhappiness is not the story, is not the physical sensation of unhappiness, like the dull feeling you get when you're depressed, or the physical sensation that you feel of when you're angry. It's not the real unhappiness. The real unhappiness is a psychological desire to change the unchangeable, all right? The resistance to it. Like I always say, the example, it's kind of like being in traffic. You could be in traffic and be late to work and know that you're late to work and there's nothing you can do about it. And you just say, you know what, fuck that shit, I'm late. Or you could be late to work, be in traffic, and get pissed off about it. One, same situation, but one is resistant and one is not. So that's what I'm talking about, is that both feel the desire to go to work. But one gave up the desire to feel better. One just accepted the situation. So what is the number one sign of unhappiness then? You see, the number one sign of unhappiness is how much you're distracted, how often you're distracting yourself. Because distraction is trying to escape what's going on inside of you. So if you notice yourself, you're always trying to distract yourself, always trying to do things to feel better. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is that when you do that in order to feel better, when you do that for an outcome, when there's an outcome in mind, that where you need certain things to happen in order for you to be happy. And so, for example, that happens to me a lot, right? I notice myself always looking for distractions. I notice myself always looking for an aversion, something to distract my mind, something to entertain me. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem is not the distraction itself. The problem is the suppression, especially when you're trying to avoid certain emotions, certain thoughts. And so what tends to happen is that becomes a pattern. People will continually look for ways to distract themselves. They'll continually look for ways to try to feel better. So, and again, the problem is not the distraction itself, but rather replacing the distraction for your sense of self. That in order to be happy, you need that. And if you don't have it, you're unhappy. And that happens with a lot of people. It happens with Facebook. Don't you notice the anxiety you feel when you don't have Facebook? The anxiety you feel when you're not around your cell phone? It's kind of like your consciousness is linked up to it. You leave your phone there. You're not there thinking about the text messages you're going to get. And as soon as you get your phone, after a whole weekend without your phone, you were expecting to get a whole bunch of text messages, but you got nothing. I'm not speaking from experience. But nevertheless, though, that's yourself. That's distracting yourself because you're trying to avoid your inner reality. It's kind of like living in a shitty house and you hate your house so much that you just want to hang out with your friend because you want to escape the pain of being in your house. So that's what tends to happen. Now, the problem with that is that the distraction becomes a lot worse than what you're trying to avoid. The cure becomes worse than the disease. And you know what tends to happen is that you begin to develop your personality. You begin to develop habits that permeate and that perpetuate that one thing that you are unhappy about, which is your inner reality. So the more unhappy you are, the more you're going to be required to be happy. So maybe one Facebook post did it, but then because just like drugs, you grow tolerance to it. You need another one and another one. You need a new Instagram. You need a new Twitter. You just look for more distractions, and so you try to do that to hide under that veil to feel better. And so what tends to happen is that the closer to reality you feel, which is to say the closer you are to your pain, the more you're gonna run away from it. And so sometimes life tries to bring you to that, but because you don't notice the sign, you're taking it as a negative. You distract yourself more. You feel like you need more. So what's the solution for this? The solution is to do the opposite. I always say that if you're not getting the results you want, do the opposite. So what is the opposite? Stop trying to feel better. You see, if you notice the level of distractions, notice how often you're distracted, notice how often your consciousness is linked up to something simply because you want to avoid a certain emotion, which in my case is always boredom. I'm always not trying to be bored. And that's why I came to the park here today, because I wanted to read a book. And guess what I'm doing? Being distracted. It's a normal thing. It's a normal thing. I was actually reading a quote today that said that if you want to help people out, it said that don't try to help them out with how awesome you are, but try to help them out with how weak you are. Which is to say, I feel like in my opinion is that you want to tell people that they're not alone. See, most people feel that they're not alone in terms of existence, but most people don't know that they're not alone with also suffering. That they're not the only ones that suffer. Sometimes you see the people who you admire, you think they're really happy, and that causes you to actually have a disconnect with them because you can't really relate. But as soon as you find out that your biggest idol has weaknesses, you kind of are able to connect with them a little bit more. As soon as you notice that they have fears, that they also have pain in their lives, that they also have things that they worry about, you kind of connect with them more. And so for me, my main responsibility is not to show how awesome I am, but really to show how weak I am. And really show you guys that some of the tactics that I teach, I don't use it often too, because I'm a human being, motherfuckers. I'm not a fucking sage. I just happen to also be fucked up in the head like everyone else. And but I believe in the human brain to help you overcome almost anything you set your mind to. So what I'm working on is to literally stop, is observing the tension that is experienced when you're trying to avoid your pain. So always asking yourself, am I trying to feel better at this moment? And as soon as you notice yourself trying to feel better, ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped trying to feel better just for 10 seconds? All right, so I want you guys to do it right now with me. And I always do this exercise with you guys, but because it's important, you guys want to practice it right now, all right? So ask yourself this. Again, remind you, notice this, is that the desire to, when I say this, am I trying to feel better? Feel better is it comes in the form of distraction. So whenever you're not distracted, you experience your pain more. But it's not even that. It's not even just to experience your pain, but making the resolution to not try to feel better, which is in this case is making the resolution to not try to interrupt it, to just to see it for what it is, which is acceptance. So try it out right now. Ask yourself, am I trying to feel better? And just look for any scintilla of effort, not through conscious thinking, but through simply having an awareness. For example, it's kind of like looking for any tension in your shoulders. You don't look for tension like with conscious thinking. You just bring your attention and you look for tension, all right? So I want you to do that, but with your emotions. Look for any tension to try to feel better right now. So let's do it right now. Ask yourself, at this moment, am I trying to feel better right now? And just observe. All right, and I am trying to feel better. Now ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped trying to feel better for at least 10 seconds? And see what happens if you just give up trying to feel better for 10 seconds. Don't try to understand anything. Just try and not to understand anything. And try not to feel better. Just for 10 seconds. It's not going to be forever. So just do it for those 10 seconds and see what happens. When you do that, it feels like a weight is lifted off your shoulders, right? And that's what tends to happen. Is that your suffering was self-created because of your intense desire to feel better. That's where your suffering comes from. The peace that you experience comes from your surrendering to the emotion, which is not trying to feel better. And so when you try to feel better, you will inevitably externalize it, because when you look within, you see pain. So then you try to bring your attention on the outside world. Now what tends to happen is that whatever you grab onto becomes your identity. You see, you identify with it and you say, oh, this makes me happy. Oh, that guy makes me happy. Or Alex from Mindful Attraction makes me happy, so let me watch his videos. You see, all of these things become distractions. So the cure becomes worse than the disease. When you saw my channel, you did it to actually just find a tool, but rather it became your identity. It's kind of like, you see, so these are tools, not an identity. Now, what's an identity? An identity is when you use it to feel better. So you should always look for your sources of happiness and unhappiness, and resolve yourself to not use it to not use the source of, and resolve yourself to not try to feel better through avoiding your unhappiness and trying to find happiness, and just give up for at least just 10 minutes a day. Just give up trying to feel better. Use it as a form of meditation. And look, I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's amazing how that feels. It's not even how it feels. It's because you still feel the same thing, but the weight is off your shoulders. I may do a guided meditation on am I trying to feel better thing that I've been using, because I kind of like it a lot. It's actually very effective. Yeah, man, it's a beautiful day today. It really is. I barely had any sleep, man. Barely had any sleep, because sometimes when I want to make a video, sometimes like it consumes me. Like I just want to fucking make it. It's weird. But if you guys know of anyone who's renting a room in Williamsburg, because I'm moving to Williamsburg, let me know. Holler at me. You know where to message me. If you guys want one-on-one coaching, just go to mindfulattraction.org/coach in a pocket, And I also have a 1 month program where it's called Coach in the Pocket, where you're able to access me 24/7. So you guys could go there, you guys could apply for it, and you guys will hear from me soon. All right. Anyways, this is Alex from mindfulattraction.org. If you guys have any video suggestions, post it in the comment below. If you guys have anyone that you think I should interview for this channel, because I want to interview people from different channels, let me know. Holler at me. Let them know about me and let me know about them, and put them in the comment below if you feel like we'll be good fit and if the material is good. Anyways, take care. This is Alex, and have a good day. Bye bye.